Welcome, everyone. This is the 24th of November in the great year 2010. And this evening we have lessons from the front line. And this is a real treat this evening. There's a lot going on tonight here at the Dream Abode in Southern California. And only most all of it distracting me. But things are good. We are live. Tonight is, bring my little sheet here. Our topic tonight on Lessons from the Frontline is gratitude and you. And so I like to start off these broadcasts by reading the announcement that we put out each week. This week's announcement said, "Dear Conscious Dreamers, 1 week on the road leading up to Thanksgiving, and this is my favorite holiday in the States because it gives us the opportunity to stop everything else and to just be grateful. Lots of focus on food this time of year, but this week's broadcast shares the most important recipe of how to work with and be in gratitude." Being, okay. All year long as an essential ingredient of living your dream. So that is what our stated topic is tonight. And as you know, prior to diving into the topic, I like to kind of fill you in on what's been going on with Dr. Dream. And certainly this past week has been quite eventful. So I'd like to kind of bring you up to speed on all of that. Last Thursday morning, I flew from Southern California to Omaha, Nebraska, and that is my hometown where I was born and raised. And yes, I believe we probably have at least one person currently in Omaha right now on this broadcast. And it was fabulous. We based ourselves out of the Omaha Healing Arts Center, which is the OM Center. There's no place like, you got it, OM. And it was great. They have a loft apartment there. It's down in the Old Market area of Omaha. And it was cold and yet so warm in my heart. On Friday evening, we had I don't even know what to call it because we haven't done too many of these, but I guess we can call it a workshop or a presentation, or I really like this energy transference session. Maybe that's what we did. We had a group energy transference session, and it was titled "Create Reality Now: Practical Tools and Techniques to Live the Life of Your Dreams." And it was really very special. The venue itself in Omaha is an old building down in an area of town that has, it's called the Old Market. It's got that flavor, the cobblestone streets. And the main room we were in, wood floors, brick walls, exposed wood beams, and then a glass extended rooftop ceiling, something like that. And just the energy of that alone was great. And then because I was staying there, I got to take at least a couple of hours to set up the crystal grid. You know, with each of our experiences, our activations, or any of our energy transference sessions, we set up this crystal grid, and I find that the more time I have to do it and the more relaxed I can be, it really adds a nice dimension to it. So no doubt that evening, a most spectacular and unique crystal grid was set up. And it was quite good. So Eddie, what's going on over there? You know,
Testing the line.
I have to tell you that I have, this is the first time, yeah, now you know that Lessons from the Front Line and Dr. Dream are really going places when we actually are able to have a staff engineer here.
A
And
chemical engineer. Hey, your shoulder's out of the picture a little bit. Can you move?
which shoulder?
Go the other way. There you go. Slide the other way. There you go. There you go. Better.
So now I get coached while we're doing this, which doesn't create any stress at all or anything going on. But I really want Eddie to be my Ed McMahon. So we want to develop sort of the Dr. Dream and Eddie show. But so Eddie, now that you've been introduced, you know, feel free to chime in and let me know what's going on in the chat or anything that my shoulder's in the wrong place or something like that.
You look good, Mark.
There we go. See, validation.
Yes.
That's as everyone needs their own personal chemical engineer. Better living through chemical engineering. Put up your left hand and hold that.
Juicy says you should bend
Oops.
down. Oh, there you go. Oh, holy crystal. There you go.
It's really heavy. Okay. Wow, we're just having entirely too much fun. Oh my God, there's a crystal growing out of my head. Okay, I'm sorry, I totally digress. So back to Omaha. For those of you that don't really know my process so well, what happens is nothing I do is scripted out, which I'm sure, based on being on these video broadcasts, has now come to you as an absolute surprise. And that this past Friday night in Omaha with the Create Reality Now, didn't know exactly what I was going to be doing, but this is the beauty of the distinction between Dr. Dream and Mark. And Mark just steps out of the way, and Dr. Dream steps in, and it was a beautiful thing. At this point, you know, Wendy, if you wanted to chime in here and tell us a little something about the experience. Eddie, you gotta handle the chat.
Whale Shark says Friday night was amazing.
Friday night was amazing. See, there we go. So it wasn't just amazing for me. Whale Shark or Wendy was in the audience, and or it's not really an audience in what we do. It's really about being a participant in the experience of what's happening. And so it really was, from my standpoint, an exceptional evening. The energies were really, really amazing, and it was quite nice. Saturday afternoon, we did an unconditional love activation. Took a full 3.5 hours, and it was also quite good. And there's something for me about going back to where I was raised, and you know, back to the roots of my experience, that it takes it to a different level. And I'm sure what it has to do with is what we talk about quite a bit, and that is the whole oh, this is funny, we don't normally have a black thing, and it looks like my hand is just coming out of like out of nowhere.
My, you have big hands, Mark. And Whale Shark says they asked if it was interactive, and Whale Shark says it's totally interactive. I even spotted a heart on the floor in the wood at the Ohm Center. It was very cool.
Nice.
And Juicy said it was divine.
It yeah, I mean it there's a magic that happens in these experiences, and I appreciate Whale Shark, you know, expressing that, because it's not just for me. I mean, my entire life has turned into one magic moment developing into another magic moment, and I so honor that part of what my experience is, and that's why the feedback from these different sessions and activations is so valuable. Now, I did speak with someone else in Omaha today who was in touch with some of the other participants from the Saturday afternoon session, and again, it creates like a magic in people's lives. It shifts something. I mean, and this is why we've called them activations as opposed to workshops or other things like that. Also, I have to say that that evening, Wendy and I made our way to the Oasis Hookah Bar in Omaha. Eddie, have you ever been to a hookah bar?
Yes, I have, Mark.
Well, thank you, Eddie.
Thank you.
And you know what? I think we should have some music from now on. Maybe some live
Hookah music.
accompaniment
Yeah.
or hookah
Mhm.
music. We can have a hookah next time. It was an incredible experience. And what was really interesting to me after the fact, let alone just the experience of hanging out with Wendy and having a really good time, was that the hookah bar is in the old location of Borsheim's jewelry store, which was like a place I went to quite often as a child to get presents for my mother and things like that. It was we were close to the owners, and it's, and he's got the iPhone music accompaniment. I'm telling you, the manifestations just happen like that. It's outrageous. So Omaha was a very meaningful experience, a very powerful experience for me, and what it did was it set up the foundation for me to go to Denver on Sunday. Now, the background on why I went to Denver, other than the fact that I've been to 62 different cities this year doing these activations. I went to Denver because at Burning Man I met Josh and Seth Larson from the band Something Underground, and Seth's wife Crystal and their crew that was at Burning Man, and they so touched me in a really beautiful, emotional way at Burning Man. And what I realized is that that was really a two-way street, and so it was an incredible bond. One of those things that happens at Burning Man. You spend a week with some people at Burning Man, and it's the equivalent of spending what, like 6 months in
It's
ordinary default world with people.
it's a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of locks in a relationship. So uh, I knew I wanted to go to Omaha before the end of the year because when we were in Omaha earlier this summer, I committed and really sent it out to the universe that I would be back, and also that I would stay in that loft apartment at the Ohm Center. And so it did all come about in a really beautiful way. You know, before we get too far gone on stepping into the whole Denver portion of the trip, um, we did. I think it's worth just chatting, this is the gratitude call. A little bit about the Oasis Hookah Bar. Now, Wendy had never been to a hookah bar before, and I've been to many of them, and at times have even turned my living room into a hookah lounge. And so they had, what was it, Wendy? Was it called like the ultimate bowl or the ultimate hookah experience, something like that?
A whale shark commented that's fresh fruit, mint, mango, pineapple, strawberry.
Yeah, well, here's what they did. It was top of the line, that's for sure. They took a pear, cut off the top, and made the inside into a four-chamber bowl. I know this kind of language and terminology is way past my chemical engineer, but they turned it into a four-chamber bowl, and we had mint, mango, something red and juicy.
Strawberry.
Okay, was it strawberry? Whale shark, was it strawberry? I don't even remember. And then something else. Did I mention that it was at midnight? So am I supposed to remember everything? But I will tell you that the gentleman that prepared it was an absolute master. The presentation, as Wendy is saying now, was beautiful, and the experience of being on this sofa, or really, was it a sofa? Or, Wendy, was it a love seat? Just throwing that out there. Okay. And the experience was really, it was the Love Lounge that night, and I may have turned into Dr. Love in there as opposed to Dr. Dream, possibly. We might want to edit some of the content from here on out. Oh, that's right. We were sitting there, and across the street there was a sign with a beautiful heart on it, and so the whole heart's all over town. Love this. I just love this. Very very exceptional experience. And what I loved was at 2:15, the gentleman who did all this for us came over and said, "I don't want to be that guy that says, well, actually, I'm going to be that guy right now. It's 2:15 and you've got to leave." They were already, the lights were turned up, they were vacuuming, and Wendy and I were still sitting there enjoying the pear bowl, four-chamber, ultimate deluxe, top-of-the-line hookah bar experience. So if you're in Omaha or ever can get to Omaha, it happens to be the only legal hookah bar or lounge in the entire state of Nebraska. You don't actually smoke the pear. It's covered with a foil on top, and then charcoals, glowing red charcoals, are placed on top. And so it is it is quite nice. It's kind of like Wendy's co-hosting with us, isn't it? From Omaha. I think this is pretty cool, All right. So I flew to Denver on Sunday after just a couple hours sleep on Saturday evening, getting everything ready and whatnot. And Something Underground, which you can find this band on iTunes, and absolutely you want to download their music. Eddie, we have to figure out what it takes to play music in here next time. That's going to be the next thing. They've got some great tracks. Actually, on Friday night, we used one of their tracks called Breathe when we talked about the intentional breathing that we do with the breathing in energy and all that serves your highest good, raises your vibration and frequency, and on the breath out, just letting go and releasing. And so these guys even played a role in Omaha for me. But they every 2 months they do a jam session evening at the warehouse. And Eddie, you would love this. Eddie, by the way, is not just a chemical engineer. He is a musician. So, and they invite all the musicians that they know, and you just fit in. There are bands that show up, but full bands don't get to play together, and you just fit in to what's going on. And I've never seen, they got like 6 microphones set up, and there's keyboards and guitars, and people bring their instruments, and it was really something. You may,
I've played in many jams. It's called the Jam.
Yeah, now that you're kind of
wonderful kind of scene.
Dr. Dream's sidekick, you may want to go to Denver with me. I'm thinking about going every 2 months because
it took us an hour to get the backdrop up.
But you know what? The backdrop looks great. In the studio at the Dream compound. And what I felt immediately, which was a continuation of Omaha, but it was really different than Omaha because in Denver it was I was really being hosted there, and the experience and just the outward display of love and gratitude was really very touching for me. And so really want to put that out there. The next day, Monday, we did a private activation. There were 11 of us in one of the most beautiful designed homes I've been in a long time. This was in Boulder, and a very spiritual and very moving experience. I actually cried before the activation and got a little choked up at the beginning. And at that one, a wonderful musician, her name is Kimba, played a crystal didgeridoo on each of us. And I've got to tell you that I've had a lot of people play the didgeridoo on me. It feels awfully good as you feel that the vibration and everything. But when Kimba played the crystal didgeridoo on me, my entire body started shaking. Now there were 10 other people there, so she couldn't play on me very long. She had to get to each person, but I felt like if she had kept playing on me, I would have literally levitated off of the floor, which,
I can see that.
I mean, I haven't really had an experience like that before, and I was just like, wow, this is spectacular. So, yeah, the whole thing was just came together so well. Tuesday, oh, and then to boot, those of you that have been on the calls before know all about Ion. Ion No Mind, my very good friend Jesse No, who's done probably more than 20 activations with me this year, just happened, yeah, right, just happened to be in Colorado, and he co-facilitated both sessions with me, the Boulder one, and then last night's unconditional love activation at the Something Underground warehouse. And we had 30 people laid out on the warehouse floor. They brought carpets in, they brought air mattresses. There was one of those love sacks. Eddie, have you seen those love
No, I
sacks?
haven't, Mark.
We jumped, no, we didn't jump. They jumped from the second floor of the warehouse onto the love sack. And then four of us on Monday night just were like laid out on this thing. It was great, but I don't have much room for one of those. So I'm really wanting a warehouse. And then that love sack was a 3-person, but it fit 4 perfectly. They have a 5-person, which I've got to figure fits probably like 6.5 people, or if you're really close, 12.
Yeah.
So anyway, I digress just a little bit, but in a good way. Uh, where was I? The activation at the warehouse. Really a beautiful experience. A great sound system to play the music that we were playing. Adam's Ale, and it was really exceptional. But there was an underlying experience for me in the past week, and I guess it's interesting to me that it was in the week building up to Thanksgiving, because I really wasn't thinking about Thanksgiving, but the amount of gratitude that was expressed to me, and for what I do was really exceptional in this in the last 6 days. And you know, it wasn't an easy trip. These days traveling is not the easiest thing to do, taking all these modalities and checking 2 bags and all the extra charges and the rigmarole and all of this. But all it takes is one person to share what the experience means to them. And so beyond that, I mean, you know, so many people sharing what was going on with them, and the impact that it was having. I had on the jam session party at the warehouse on Sunday evening in Denver. I had a woman come up to me who I met at Burning Man. Haven't seen or had contact with her since. And she came up to me and she shared with me that the experience she had, which was our first activation at Burning Man this year, in a teepee with people just packed in there. We couldn't even move around to fully get to everyone with all the tools. That she shared with me that that activation really shifted something very big for her and changed her life. And it reminded me that you just don't know the impact that you have. You don't know. I mean, this year it's been over 1,000 people in unconditional love activations, and maybe I've had feedback, real feedback from maybe 10% of them. I'm not even sure, but 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 to hear it and to look into someone's eyes and hear them say that this experience has fully changed their life is validating and energizing, and really led to you know this call tonight. I mean, certainly this is the traditional call. We've been doing these now for, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years, and all the call each year, the call right before Thanksgiving is the gratitude call. Have to excuse me. I've been in planes and cold weather and warm and all this stuff. Anyway, and so this was always going to be the gratitude call, but I guess it's just beautiful how my experience has lined up with so much gratitude being reflected to me. And then also, and you all know that 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 really I'm in such a place of gratitude for my experience lining up, that I get to do this and be this way, and share what I share, and it truly means the world to me. So I have some quotes this evening that I get to share now. Is this a good time to
Yeah, it's a
move
good
into
time.
that? Nice. 7:04, I believe, right?
7:04.
So, oh, Wendy and you guys. I mean, you're welcome. I say you're welcome. Okay, Lisa, there you go. Love it. Absolutely love it. So, the first quote this evening is from William Arthur Ward. He is an American dedicated scholar, author, editor, pastor, and teacher. Wow. So, basically, just very accomplished and very busy. And the quote is, feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. And I really like that, because all too often it's easy for us to not take the extra time and the effort and really focus our attention on sharing back with people after something has been shared with us. And so it is really very important that when you feel gratitude, or more to the point, that when you feel like you've received something in general, that you've had a good experience, that you move that into gratitude, being grateful for what it is you've experienced, for how it has affected you, for how it has made your day a better day, or whatever it is. And I don't think you can ever be out of place or um, I don't know the expression I'm looking for, but I don't think it's ever inappropriate to express gratitude.
I agree.
That's great. You are so
Oh,
like
yeah.
my Ed McMahon that
Yes.
I am so turning into Johnny Carson, who, by the way, is also from Omaha, Nebraska. So, yeah, and Eddie, you can read some of this chat stuff
I
here. And
don't want to interrupt the flow. I'm trying
no,
to
no,
figure out
no.
find
The
how to do this
flow,
flow.
the flow is here. What do you got for me, Eddie?
Well, love is gratitude from Juicy. I am grateful for your activation this past week. Super grateful from Whale Shark.
So, love is gratitude. I think that's great, and so certainly love is a beautiful way of expressing gratitude. I've got a an Anthony Robbins quote. Of course, Tony Robbins, well known in the human development field. Who knows what they call this field anymore? But the quote is, "When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears." Now, what I particularly like about this is earlier this year, I added a page to the 21-day program, and the page is the gratitude list. And the thought being that if you start your morning expressing your gratitude, I'm just looking to see if I have. If you start each morning expressing your gratitude, then there's no doubt that you're going to, and I don't have it, but there's no doubt that you're going to see and experience your day a little bit differently. I had an experience recently with a good friend of mine who is involved, is in the process of breaking away from someone that they've been in a relationship with. And as you know, or you may not know, Eddie, you're a stable guy, so you may not know any of this stuff about breaking up with
Right.
people or
It's
anything.
hard to do.
I can probably speak more to it than Eddie can. He's um, Eddie, by the way, is in a wonderful relationship and marriage. Is it okay for me to talk
Yeah,
about your
please do.
personal life?
Hmm.
Eddie's in a wonderful relationship, actual marriage with Chris, and she is amazing, and must be really to put up with Eddie. Uh,
She pays my tickets when I speed.
right? Isn't that awesome? That could be a line in a
Oh,
song.
yeah.
I met Eddie on Grateful Dead tour, so it's okay for him to quote Dead songs. Um, and it's because of Chris that we took a giant leap in our process with Lessons from the Frontline and Dream the Biggest Dream, because I had talked about getting on iTunes and doing podcasts and all this, but it was Chris that really facilitated and allowed that to happen and come to light. So look at me. I'm expressing gratitude now for Chris and really for you, Eddie. I mean, um, if it took you and me both an hour to put up the black backdrop, it would have taken me, a day or two to do it, possibly. No, it is nice having Eddie here. Eddie and Chris are on the short list of long-term supporters of mine, and they have just always shown up in the most beautiful ways, and I really do have tremendous gratitude, and you taking your time and on Wednesday evening to come over here and hang out, and
It's like church.
it's like church. That's great. I had my tab collar on, but that's a whole nother thing. See, look, Eddie, you're even getting a little
I
gratitude on
know
the
it's
chat. We
wonderful.
got Lisa saying thank you, Eddie. Um and that the backdrop looks great. That's awesome. Oh, I got it. I see. This is why I should be reading. It just goes quiet while I'm reading the
Right.
chat. This is not good. Okay, this is why Eddie's here. All right. So, pulling me back to exactly where I was on this, um, talking about gratitude, expressing gratitude. The quote of when you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears from Tony Robbins, and the 21-day program having each day a gratitude list that you fill out and put 40, you have 40 blanks to express gratitude. And so this friend of mine recently involved in this breakup with someone he's um, been with and working on a relationship for a while, and it has not it's been challenging, and now the relationship is over. Um, and so the process in working with this person was to try to identify ways to make the healing process happen quicker. And so I said, "Are you?" I knew that they were working my 21-day program in the past. I said, "Are you working the gratitude list?" And they said, "No, not really right now." And I said, "I want you to work the gratitude list, and I want you to start writing 5 to 10 um, things regarding this person and what they meant to you, and I just want you to have gratitude for 5 to 10 aspects of what the relationship held or aspects of this person, and when you start to think about it, to really focus each day when you're in the midst in the immediate aftermath of a breakup. Okay, that means you're waking up each day and you're just one giant emotional trigger. And to start your day out by writing 10, um, making a list of 10 things or aspects of the relationship or of the person that you just broke up with that you are grateful for, that's got to really shift the energy.
Yes, it does.
And that's exactly what we found. We had a couple of days of working this process together, and it most certainly shifted the energy quicker than anything else that we had talked about or come up with. And so there is this real power of gratitude, and as Tony Robbins says, fear disappears and abundance appears. And remember, abundance is not all about money. Money is a part of abundance, but abundance is about all the things within you that make you feel full and vibrant and alive. And then from there it goes. So let's see, we've got another quote here. And this is good. This brings up some good stuff. This is from JFK, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Of course, he was the 35th. Is that right? 35th U.S.
That's right.
president.
And yes, today was the anniversary of his death.
Today was.
Yeah.
Today was the anniversary of his death. So appropriate that I came across this quote.
Yes, it's
I really like how that works. So here's the quote from JFK. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. And so, while I do really like this aspect of sharing gratitude by through words and in that mode or type of way of doing things. What I really liked about this is that if you're really in a place of gratitude, you show it by your actions, by how you're living, by the example of what you are. Like I probably should have gotten a 6-pack of beer for Eddie tonight, and that would have been Would that have been better than me
No, no.
hugging you and saying thank you?
Just being in your presence, Mark, is.
Telling you, I got to keep Eddie around because this is just way too good, way too good. Um, but it really is. It is about not just saying the words, because a lot of times in our society, what we see is the words have kind of lost their meaning. That's how many times have you seen someone say, "Oh, how you doing today?" and not even waiting to hear what the answer is because it's just this kind of, that's right, Lisa, empty. It's just like it's empty. There, the words are there, but there's not anything to it. There's no substance to it. At times, I'm not saying that across the board, and certainly those of us on the path that are in the activations and things like that. I mean, I feel those words so much, but it really is, Wendy, making me blush. Um, it really is um, about showing it. I mean, when you're in appreciation, it shows up in how you are with people, and that it just becomes apparent that there's gratitude and appreciation there. Now, one of my favorites is Khalil Gibran, who wrote. Do you know what he wrote, Eddie?
No, I do not.
Now, here's where you can see that Eddie is a chemical engineer, not a literature major.
Correctly.
Khalil Gibran wrote The Prophet, along with many other writings, and 1883 to 1931. And he wrote, "Wake at dawn with a winged heart and give thanks for another day of loving." And I think this whole aspect of this being the night before Thanksgiving and what that really means, and what I want us all to get away from is like that one day out of the year we just are like really grateful and just intent on expressing our thanks to everyone in our lives. And what I really want is this Khalil Gibran quote, which is "Wake at dawn," which, I mean, you can get up a little later than dawn, okay? I'm okay with that. "With a winged heart and give thanks for another day of loving." I mean, this is right up the unconditional love activation alley. And it is, I mean, this is it. Just give thanks for another day of loving. And what a gift that is to wake up in the morning and to look at it from that perspective. Here is another day, a fresh, new day, and I get to love today. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I've got one last quote this evening, and this is from Brian Tracy, who's motivational in a huge way for so many of us. "Develop an attitude of gratitude and give thanks for everything that happens to you, knowing that every step forward is a step toward achieving something bigger and better than your current situation." Now, how about that for really being inspirational?
It's beautiful, man.
I really like that. And this whole attitude of gratitude, you know, I really like when things rhyme. Eddie, you're not supposed to allow us to have
Lisa
this.
thought that was very funny. She says, do, love, love, love.
We're going to get the whole Dr. Dream and Eddie show down much better in the future. But really this call tonight, and I guess I'm just really honored that the gratitude call is the first call that I'm not sitting here, doing this on my own. Um, that I get to have Eddie here. I get to have such good friends on the the chat, the video broadcast, Lisa and Wendy and Chris and all the rest of you. Um, and for me, it's simply about just being so aware and conscious in the moment, being so present that there's nothing else available for me to feel except absolute gratitude for being here now and sharing and being in this together. You know, that thing I say so often, we're all in this together. And just how it it doesn't take a lot anymore for me to really slip into the most sincere, um, deeply heartfelt gratitude. Um, I think that maybe I was always, grateful in the past. I don't really know, but I know that since I have been fully consciously on this path, and certainly this year has been such a highlight. We took the tour of love to over 60 cities now, over 80 unconditional love activations. We've stayed in people's homes. We have um, had so many people step up to help us in being the change, in being a positive trigger that that it really just stops me in my tracks because I don't really know what I expected when 6 or 7 years ago I developed Dream the Biggest Dream, and people started calling me Dr. Dream, and each year, each month, I mean, truly each day, I step more fully into what my life is about, um, and let go and release all that isn't serving me. It's just so much to be grateful for, and I guess for me, it really guides me along, and the more gratitude I feel, the more I want to put myself out there and share with people and make a difference in people's lives. Um, and truly, as the moments turn into more moments and the days move into new days, um, it's very clear to me that this is exactly what my life is about, and this is the way that it works. And so to read these quotes and to have it so beautifully reflect my experience, and then to be here now on this broadcast, and um, tomorrow I get to spend the whole day with my mother and my dog Jake, and some friends of the family, and I'm so grateful for that, and all the people that have been so touched by what I do that they want to be a part of it, and they want to share their love. I don't think we've ever gone to a city and done an unconditional love activation where people haven't come up and said to us, "We want to join the tour of love." Last night in in Denver, the same thing, um, and just how people show up for each other, and it means so much. So, Eddie, what do you got for us before we start to close out the call?
Well, it's been a great call, Mark. We want to thank everybody and I wish them all a happy Thanksgiving.
And we really do. Tomorrow's a special day. Those of you watching this in other countries, uh, tap into it. It's a great energy, and anytime that anywhere you have so many people in a space of gratitude and sharing that energy, it is it is it is so important. I mean, it just sends that out to the universe. So if one person can make a difference, all of us together, focusing our energy and being thankful not just for what we have in our immediate lives, but being thankful for the entire experience, the everything that has shown up for us, whether we understand it all or not, knowing that it truly is all good, and expressing that gratitude. So it is with tremendous love and gratitude that I honor each of you for tuning in and sharing the gifts that you have as we share the gifts that we have, and it means so much. We'll be back next week with another broadcast, and until then, be sure and check out touroflove.com. Please friend us on Facebook. Go to Dream the Biggest Dream, the group on Facebook, and join up and send it out to your friends, and just a happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And I absolutely love each and every one of you. And you know what? That includes you, Eddie. Thank you so much. So good night, everyone. It's been tremendous, and we will be connecting very soon. Have a lovely evening, a lovely Thanksgiving, and a great week. Good night.